Hey guys, as promised, today I'm going to show you how to make 6 rustic chairs. We're going to do it for less than $100, and they go with the table you see in this video. Let's get started. The first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to start collecting lumber. You're going to need 2 2x10s at 10 feet long. You're going to need 8 1x3s at 8 feet long. You're going to need 6 2x2s 8 feet long. You're going to need 8 2x4s at 8 foot long. You're also going to need 2 pints of stain. We use dark walnut. You're going to need 1 pint of polyurethane and 2 quarts of a white oil-based paint. Lastly, you'll need 300 pocket screws that are 2 inches long. As you can see from this photo, I needed to go back and get 2 more 2x4s, but I had more than enough of the other ones. We're going to start by cutting the 2x10s to make the seat. I'm going to cut 6 that are 20 inches long and 6 that are 18 3/4 inches long. After that, I'm trimming a 1/4 inch off of the inside of both boards so they can be joined more easily. Once that's done, I'll angle down at a 4-degree angle from 20 inches down to 18 3/4 on the first board, and then I'll angle down from 18 3/4 to 17 1/2 on the other. You can make these straight cuts, and what I recommend is 18 1/2 if you do that. Then I'm taking a Kreg jig and I'm drilling 3 holes, and I'm joining them with pocket screws and wood glue. After that, I'm going to mark 2 inches deep from the back of the seat. I'm going to mark 1 1/2 inches wide. We're going to cut out a rectangle. This will be so the seat back can connect to the rear legs of the seat. As you can see, I'm using a jigsaw to make these cuts. Try to make these cuts as tight as possible. You can always come back and trim them later as needed. And this should be what you get after you're done. Next, I'm going to show you all the cuts you need to make to start putting these chairs together. First, you're going to use the 2x4s to cut 12 pieces that are 38 1/2 inches long. These are going to be the back braces and the rear legs of the seat. Then you'll use the 2x4s again to cut 12 16 1/2 inch pieces. I also trimmed these down to 2 inches wide, and these will be the front legs of the seat. I use a sander to sand the edges off. I don't go crazy on this. I want to keep all the blemishes on this to give it that rustic look. The next part's probably going to be the hardest part of the chair. What I'm showing you is the cutout you're going to make for the rear legs in the back of the chair. The first part's going to be 20 1/2 inches long, and that's the length of the board, and then 8 inches, and then down to 10 inches. That's why you needed that 2 inch by 1 1/2 inch notch in the seat. When you make these cuts, I recommend using a circular saw for most of them. I am going to use a jigsaw for the trickier inside cuts, but the circular saw, it makes a cleaner cut for one, but it's a lot less work. The other thing is that a circular saw makes some saw blade marks, somewhat like a sawmill, and that adds to the rustic look of the chair. Next, we're going to make a bunch of small lumber cuts. That way we can start putting our chair together. First, you're going to use the 2x2s to cut out 18 pieces that are 14 1/2 inches long. These are going to be the back brace pieces. Then you'll use the 1x3s to cut out 12 pieces that are 14 1/2 inches long. These will be the front and back bracing for the seat. Then you'll cut 12 more 1x3s that are 13 1/2 inches long. These will be the side bracing for the seat. Next, you'll use the 1x3s to cut 18 pieces that are 13 inches long. These will be the uprights for the back of the chair. Then you'll cut 12 2x2s that are 15 inches long. These will be the bracing for the bottom of the chair. Next, I'm going to use a Kreg jig to go ahead and make the pocket holes. First, on the 14 1/2 inch 1x3s, I'm going to put 2 pocket holes on one side and 2 on the other. I'll also have one in the center, which will actually connect the seat top. I'll also do this to the 13 1/2 inch boards. So there's 12 of each of these, and there's actually 5 pocket holes on each board. Next, on 6 of the 14 1/2 inch 2x2s, I'm going to put 1 pocket hole on each side. After that, I'm going to do a little bit of sanding. I'm just sanding down the edges to knock off all the frillies off each individual edge of the boards. I'm not sanding down the boards. I'm looking for a rustic appearance on all these chairs. So don't spend a lot of time on this. Just knock off the little frillies. It's easier to do this now than when the chair is assembled. On the longer chair back or rear leg, I am going ahead and doing a little bit more sanding. I'm making sure I sand down the sharp edges and anywhere that I might have made a bad cut. Don't go crazy, we're looking for rustic chairs here. Next, I'm going to start assembling the chairs. So make sure you turn one side of the chairs one way and one side the other. First, I'm using pocket screws to join the 13.5-inch 1x3s. I'm joining them at the top of the 16.5-inch leg and then 16.5 inches up from the bottom of the rear legs. I do recommend putting the 1x3 right on the edge of the bevel and not flush with the edge of the chair. I think this looks cool, and you also don't have to sand as much when you do that. Next, we're going to join the 14.5-inch 1x3s to the front and the back of the chair. We're also going to do this with the pocket holes and wood glue. At this point, after I join one, I stand it up so it doesn't wobble, and then I join the other one. Same thing here. I don't put it flush with the edge of the chair. I put it right on the bevel. Then I'm temporarily attaching the seat tops while I square the chairs while the glue dries. Next, we're going to start working on the seat backs. What I've got here are the 14.5-inch 2x2s. Mark the center at 7.25 inches and 3 inches from each side. These will be the center of where the uprights are going to go. Next, what you'll do is you'll center the 13-inch 1x3s on the 14.5-inch boards on each one of those 3 marks you just made. I join them with a small nail gun. You can use a Kreg jig, and for those of you who are worried about the holes, they do make plugs that you can cover those up. I use a nail gun. I think it's going to be strong enough with the wood glue, but like I said, you can use a Kreg jig if you need to, and the plugs you can find at Lowe's or Home Depot. I bought them and I almost used them, but I ended up using the nail gun instead. From there, the bottom of the seat back is 3 inches up from the seat. I marked 3 inches on each chair, and then whatever it ended up being at the top, I just nailed it to the top. Just squared it up and nailed it. Now we're going to start working on the bracing on the bottom of the chair. Here I'm taking the 15-inch 2x2s. I'm going to mark them on the angled side, 2 inches up from the bottom of the floor, and we're going to cut those to fit each individual chair. After that, make one individual pocket hole on the bottom of each side of the bracing. After I've made these for each individual chair, I'm going to go ahead and use wood glue and pocket screws to install them. You can use a nail gun for added strength if you want to, but I think this will be sufficient. We're going to add one more individual bracing that we've already cut out before, and that's going to go across the two. Now the measurements don't have to be perfect on this, you just want them to match all the chairs. So I measured about 7.5 inches, center on center, and then these are also the ones 6 that we cut out before that are 14.5 inches long, and we already made the pocket holes in those. Once again, my measurements are about 2 inches from the floor. For that bracing that's going in the center, in addition to the 2 pocket screws, I am using a nail gun for a little bit of added strength. Next, we're going to start working on finishing the chairs. First, I'm going to take some wood putty, and I'm going to fill in the holes where I use the nail gun and any big cracks that you might have. I'm just trying to get rid of anything that doesn't look natural. Now I'm going to start sanding the seats. I'm going to sand the wood putty and the seats, focusing on the seats, really trying to clean up the edges of the seats. Where there's a really sharp edge, I'm going to take it down to more of a smooth edge where you're going to be sitting. The very sides, those need to be fairly smooth. Right now I'm using an 80 grit sandpaper. I am detaching them now that these chairs have dried, and getting underneath where the back is of the chair. Really doing a good job of sanding the seat itself. I want this to be fairly smooth. I mainly want to get rid of the edge in the center of those joints and make it look like one smooth board. I don't want to show you too much staining to save a little bit of time, but I do want to show you that we are staining the chairs. For an important step in the whitewashing process, I'm using a dark walnut stain. I'm staining the entire chair, top and bottom, and I've got it turned over right now so I can stain the bottom and let it dry. But we're staining the chairs first, and we're going to come back and do the whitewashing after this. Alright guys, so the way I'm going to do this whitewash requires 3 basic steps. One is to make sure the chair is stained. and you can choose whatever stain you want. 2 is to make sure you don't sand out the natural blemishes in the chair. This chair's got some saw blade cuts that I cut with. And then the last thing is to not dig in with the paintbrush to paint the actual chair itself. I've just got a basic oil-based paint here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly brush on with the paintbrush. And I just go up and down, and essentially the easiest way to put this is that you just don't do a good job of covering the chair and the wood with paint. You just lightly brush it on, and you leave those indentions in the wood there as you're painting. We can come back later and we can put another layer on, another thin coat, and we'll do that in just a second. But we'll put another thin coat on afterwards to make it more white, because what's going to happen is the stain's actually going to soak into the paint a little bit, and it's going to turn a grayish color. So we'll go ahead and paint this chair, and then we'll come back later and we'll show you what to do to make a secondary coat. So a couple big keys in making a good whitewash product is 1, going with the grain when you make the brush strokes, and 2, when you glob on paint, try to start in the corners. Typically when you have worn furniture, the corners are actually not as worn as the outside of the chair. If you're a fan of really distressed furniture, you may get 1 coat on and think that that's good enough. In this picture here, I've got an example of one with 1 coat and one with 2 coats. You can make a decision on which one you like better and go from there. Obviously, the one on the left is the 1 coat, and the one on the right has 2 coats. Now that you've applied your first coat, you've got a couple choices. 1, you can actually apply a second coat that's a little bit thicker and still leave some minor blemishes, or you can apply a little bit thinner coat and it gives it a little bit more rustic-y look to it. You just have to decide what it is you're after and kind of make a decision from there. But essentially everything else is the same. You just want to make sure that anytime you put the coat on, that you come back and you go with the grains and make sure, and you come back and get all the runs that you might have. I went ahead and elected to do 2 coats. We like the little bit less rustic style, so I came around and went ahead and did 2 coats on all these chairs. It's a little bit more work, but it makes it a little bit more white, and we like that bright appearance, and I had already done the table that way. But you choose what you like best when you're refinishing your chairs. Next, I'm going to show you a couple pictures of my brush strokes on the first and second coats. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words, so I'm showing you up close of what some of my brush strokes look like on these first coats. It might be helpful in when you do your whitewashing, what you're looking for, and exactly how to make this coverage on these chairs. Here we have a couple images of a chair with the second coat on it. As you can see, it's got a little bit more coverage and it's got a little bit brighter color to it. After the whitewashing's done, I'm going to use a polyurethane and I'm going to finish the seat tops. To save a little bit of time, I'm not going to show me finishing all of them, but I do want to say it's important to make sure you go with the grain when you're using a polyurethane. Next, I'm going to use a 220 sandpaper to sand down the polyurethane finish after it's dried. I want to make sure I go with the grain here too before we apply our final coat. Here I am putting on the final coat of polyurethane. Once again, making sure I go along with the grains. That's a little bit more important on this second coat that you do that. You can, once it dries, sand it down and do it a 3rd time, but I think this is sufficient. Finally, we've got to the moment we've all been waiting for. After the seats have dried, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of wood glue and 4 pocket screws to join the seats to the chairs. The important thing here is that the seat portion is straight with the rest of the chair. And that's it, guys. That's all there is to it. It's a little bit more labor intensive than the table was, but it's well worth it in my opinion. They're heavy duty, they're beautiful, they're rustic, and I built all 6 of them for less than $100. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and we'll be sure to add some more do-it-yourself projects.